Good day. In this video, we're going to look at a typical financial maths level 3 and 4 question. It links onto the compound increase formula you see on the screen here. The question reads, how much did Peter lend originally? He purchased a bicycle with a loan he took at the bank. He pays back the loan in 2 payments. 5,000 Rand 4 years after the granting of the loan, and another 6,000 he pays 2 years later. During the first 4 years, the interest rate is 16% per annum per year, compounded quarterly. For the remaining 2 years, the rate is 14% per year, compounded half yearly. It might be a good idea to set up a timeline. Over here, the loan started, then it's 1 year later, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, 6 years. After 4 years, he pays back 5,000. And after 6 years, he pays back 6,000. Like we said, at the end of the 4 years, he paid 5,000, and at the end of 6 years, he paid 6,000. So we're going to do 2 separate sums. We're going to say, what did he lend over here that grew to 5,000 over 4 years? And what did he lend over here that grew to 6,000 over 6 years? Then we add those 2 values. It's always good to work out what your I in your formula is for this time frame. It said the first 4 years, the interest rate is 16% per annum, compounded quarterly. So that's 16 over 100, divide by 4, gives you 1 over 25. That is the rate you will have to pay every quarter of a year for these 4 years. I'll write it as 0.04 or 1 over 25. I advise you to store it in your memory of your calculator in A. Then the interest rate in this 2-year period, the remaining 2 years, the rate is 14% per annum, compounded half yearly. So that's 14 over 100 divided by 2. So it'll be 7 over 100 or 0.07 is the rate he's going to pay half yearly in these 2 years. And we store that in our B memory. Now we need to know how many times he's going to pay interest in these 4 years. So the N in our formula for this area will be 4 times 4. 4 years, 4 times a year gives you 16 times he'll have to pay interest during the first 4 years. In the next 2 years, the N will become 4. It's 2 years and he's paying interest half yearly. That means he's paying interest twice a year. 2 times 2 is 4 times he'll pay interest in these 2 years. And the other 2 sums we will do, we will ask, for him to be able to repay the 5,000 Rand, how much did he lend originally that grew to 5,000 Rand? Then we want to know this 6,000 Rand. How much did he lend originally that grew to 6,000 Rand that he paid at the end? And then we will add these original amounts to see how much he lent originally. So we use the compound increase formula to find out what the original amount were that he lent that grew to 5,000 Rand after 4 years. So he paid back the 5,000. We need to find out how much he lent. This is the interest rate, the I, and he paid interest 16 times. And you just remind yourself you stored this value in the A memory already. You use your calculator and work out this whole part. You get this answer. Don't round it off and store it in another memory of your calculator, say C. Then we divide by C on both sides using our calculator and store that value in another memory, maybe D. Don't round off. And this is then the original amount that he lent that grew to 5,000 that he repaid. But we're not finished yet. Then we take the compound increase formula again and work out this amount that he paid at the end, the 6,000 Rand. How much was it originally that he lent? So it grew to 6,000 Rand. We want to know how much he lent for that 6,000 Rand. It grew over here for 4 years, the same as what we used over here. So the interest rate for the first 4 years was this. He paid interest 16 times in that first 4 years. Then that amount grew for the next 2 years at this interest rate that we worked out over here. And he paid this interest rate 4 times in those 2 years. And you remind yourself you stored it in B. Then you use your calculator and brackets and exponents and everything, and you work all this out, you get an answer. Don't round off, and you store it somewhere else, say in E. You divide both sides by E to get this original amount alone. Don't round off yet, and store this in another memory, say F. So this is the original amount that he lent that grew to 6,000 Rand. So we have two original amounts that together will form the loan. And then remember to answer the original question, how much did Peter lend originally? Peter borrowed this plus this. You can just fetch it from your memories and then write the final answer, 5,113 Rand 44. Please stop the video and get your brain around this. Please indicate whether you liked or disliked the video and subscribe to the channel. Enjoy financial maths.